Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everybody. Hope you're all doing so well on on today's Christmas. So, for Christmas this year, I just got done wrapping up my Silent Night Deadly Night review series. For a present for all of you, I have decided to go ahead and rank all 6 Silent Night Deadly Night movies ranked from worst to best. Now, let's keep in mind, this is not a definitive list. This is just my own personal opinion. So let me know what Silent Night, Deadly Night movies you love or hate down in the comments below. With that all out of the way, let's begin. In at number 6, the bottom of the barrel, which is to me not even a question, the worst of the franchise. Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, better watch out. I don't know what you really want me to say. It's bad.
And I don't like him.
Moving on. We got all the horrible ones out of the way, starting off with number 5, Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, Initiation. Now, I don't really hate this film. There's nothing really wrong with the film that just makes me hate it. This movie is just batshit weird to where I just don't even know how you really talk about this film. Really, the only thing that this movie is just it's a cult with a bunch of girls. It's basically a bunch of witches and it involves bugs and it takes place on Christmas in like one or two scenes. That's the entire film. Now, I will give the movie credit. It is what the movie is trying to be. It's definitely a Brian Usna film. Now, you think with Brian Usna involved, you might think that this would be one of the better entries of the franchise. Well, not quite. I do like Reanimator, and you can definitely tell there's some aspects here to it, but this movie's just too weird for me to where it doesn't feel like a Silent Night, Deadly Night film. Especially when you watch all these movies in one sitting and you binge watch all of these movies. It's kinda hard to watch this movie, especially when you think this is supposed to be a killer Santa horror movie series. But this movie just involves witches and bugs and weird shit, and it's basically a Rosemary's Baby ripoff. That's what this entire movie is. It's weird and bonkers, but it's kinda rewatchable for that reason. But yet again, it just doesn't fit this franchise, if you ask me. Maybe if it had a different title, I would like this movie more. But as a Silent Night, Deadly Night sequel, it just doesn't work for me. And at number 4 is Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker. Probably the most batshit crazy film I've ever seen in my fucking life. This movie is so fucking weird to where when after I was done watching it, I actually had to wait a few minutes before I actually went and did my review. I remember after I was done watching the film, I remember sitting down on my couch going, what the fuck was that? What the hell did I just watch? And usually, once the credits start rolling, I usually take out the film and put it back in the case and all that. But oddly, I actually kind of sat there and looked at the credits to see who the fuck was involved with this movie and whoever the fuck wrote the script. You wanna know who was one of those people that wrote the script? Brian Usna, the man who made Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 Initiation. You can definitely tell about that. Now, I there are a few things to like about this movie, mainly the killer toys and the kills themselves. I do think the kills are one of the better aspects of this film, but this movie is just so fucking batshit crazy. Like, I don't even know what the fuck I watched at that point to where I'm sitting there going, what the fuck was that about? Like, it's a weird film in my mind to where I wouldn't mind rewatching it. It's kind of rewatchable just how fucking weird it is. Kind of like Initiation. Initiation and Toy Maker are kind of this. It's kind of like my same feeling to where it's so batshit crazy and weird, and ask myself, what did I just watch? But yeah, it's kind of watchable for that. But I think we all know why this movie is the way it is.
Mommy, I love you. I love you.
3, baby. Now, I will admit, these 3 are all really rewatchable, and I could see myself rewatching all these films around the Christmas season. And, coming in at number 3 is the Garbage Day movie.
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Now, you're probably asking yourself, hey, why do you have this movie at number 3? Shouldn't this movie be at the bottom of the list? Shouldn't this be one of the worst of the franchise because the first 40 minutes of this movie is a recap of the first fucking movie? Yeah, you're all right, and I don't know why this is at number 3, but hey, it's my fucking list. So the reason this movie's at number 3 is just because I will say this. This is one of those movies to where I think it's so bad to where it is good. To where I can rewatch this movie just because how bad the film is. We all know why this movie is so popular. Yeah, because of that. But this movie is kind of rewatchable for it because it's so bad, and I rewatched this movie just because it's so bad that it's good. And I actually watched this movie with my dad, and he's not a big horror fan, and he said that movie was so bad, but I actually really enjoyed it. And it's one of those films that where I kind of rewatch it with my dad every year, and he doesn't like horror movies, and that's kind of a plus for me. This movie does have a lot going for it, mainly some of the kills and Eric Freeman's performance makes this movie so dumb to where it's kind of fun to watch. But this movie is a really bad film. The acting is atrocious. You can really tell the low budget with this film, especially with the three following it. But the film I can see myself rewatching around the Christmas season, and it's not a horrible film if you ask me. Coming in at number 2 is the original Silent Night Deadly Night. The original film, the one that started it all, probably the most controversial slasher film of the 1980s. Silent Night Deadly Night is one of those films that is one of those horror holiday films that I rewatch every year around December because it's such a great film in my mind. I really enjoy Silent Night Deadly Night. Is it one of my favorite horror movies? Maybe. Is it one of the best films ever made? God, no. Is the movie low budget? Yes. But when you think about it, the films after it make this movie kind of look more like it was made for more money, mainly because the other films were made for only like $2,000, what it looks like. But Silent Night Deadly Night is such an enjoyable movie. I do like the Billy character, although I do wish he was more mysterious and creepy. But I do enjoy this film, and I do like the theme of naughty and nice. I really enjoy a lot of these kills, especially it being a slasher film. I feel almost every slasher film should be should have really enjoyable kills and very creative kills. But where this movie does go wrong is Mother Superior in my mind. She's the one standout of this entire film that I've like, oh my god, what the fuck. And some kills, it's more of like a nitpick. I do feel that some kills should have matched the naughty and nice thing more to where Billy should kill people that are naughty. Now he does do some of that. I didn't really talk about that in my review, but when you think about it, and especially after watching the remake, you kind of ask yourself, shouldn't he have only killed people that were naughty and not just people that were just doing random shit? And especially like where it's like, oh, this girl is shirtless, punish. It's like, she didn't really deserve to die. She's just being a teenager and having sex. Um, Maybe do something like that, but I'm glad that the remake changed that. But all in all, Silent Night Deadly Night is a really enjoyable horror holiday film, and I would recommend it to those looking for a good horror film around the holidays. It's a fun horror film. Coming in at number 1, and this is something rarely you'll ever see me do with a horror franchise. But my number 1 is Silent Night, the 2012 remake. Now, I've said this ad nauseum, I'm not a big remake guy. I've never really liked the thought of a remake every time they announce a remake or they say that there's a new remake in development. I'll never really jump up in excitement. Unless it's a horror film I think needs a remake, like to where it's a movie that's aged poorly and needs a remake. This is one of those films where I think that Silent Night Deadly Night could have used a remake, and they did, and they made the film to where it made the film what I kind of wanted the original film to be. You got a cool killer Santa Claus that's mysterious and you don't know anything about him, kills people that deserve to be naughty. We got a main character that we actually root for, and the kills are really enjoyable and gory. The only thing that I don't like about this movie is the killer reveal at the end. It's basically a nobody, and we don't even know the guy's name until the end credits. We know who the guy is, especially when the movie to where our main character interrogates a drug dealer and he tells the story of our killer Santa Claus to where a guy had a flamethrower and he went after his wife, his ex-wife, and burned her and roasted her to death. And his son, who's the killer of this movie, was in the backseat of his truck and watched Officer Bradamore, the main character's father, shoot his father and kill him. Now, I will admit that's a cool backstory and it's interesting, but we don't even know the guy's name. It's just like, oh yeah, remember that backstory thing that was told like 40 minutes ago. Oh yeah, there's a kid in the back of the truck and he's the killer. It just felt lazy, and it just felt like they just added that in because they needed to add, and they just needed to add somebody there to be the killer, and they didn't want to make a new character and make them look suspicious. That's the only thing I've ever held against this movie. Other than that, this movie is a really enjoyable film, and I really like it. And this is the one horror film out of this entire franchise I would probably rewatch every year. You all so much for watching my ranking of the Silent Night Deadly Night series, and thank you all so much for the support you gave me on the Silent Night Deadly Night review series. That is one of my most popular review series on my channel now, so I thank you all for that. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you. Hope you all had a great Christmas, and I hope all of you have stayed safe the entire month of December. Go enjoy your Christmas dinner, and have a good Happy Holidays. So, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.